Trent, this is Junie. Good job. King just told me how impressed he was with you. Hope this wasn't too much for your first assignment. I wanted to meet up with you, but the attack on Schultzky has everyone rattled. President Jacoby's ordered a full investigation to determine what can be done about the order. It'll likely mean more work for us soon. Meanwhile, why don't you spread your wings a bit? Familiarize yourself with the New York
okay,
system.
so...
Maybe see what work you can pick up.
We have completed the tutorial.
Yeah, we're doing the
Trent,
tutorial
you want
now.
Wingstop?
Or we're done with the tutorial now. Yes, this is... No, Trent only goes to Panda Express. Why did the game sound just cut out? Why did the music
I don't know. I freaked out.
Acknowledged. Your request to land is granted. Proceed to land.
It is weird that the planets have these, like, gateways. Like, I understand why it's there.
Yeah.
But it is very funny.
Ah, the famous robot stevedores of Pittsburgh bring us in for a landing.
I guess.
I mean, if you're going to make a planet called Pittsburgh, this is appropriate.
I feel like Pittsburgh residents are going to see this and go, yeah, that's us.
And I lived in Pennsylvania for like 8 years.
But one of the things I loved
repair
about this
on
game, back when I played it 20 years ago, God, I'm old, is that it's one of those games that provides just enough, I don't want to say world building, but like, just enough of a view into what exists that you can sort of like invent an entire world around yourself. Like Planet Pittsburgh here, like every planet, this is before you had procedural generation of 1,000 Skyrim maps for Starfield, right? Like this is just like, there are dozens of planets, but there are only certain archetypes. So you get stuff like this, where Planet Pittsburgh is this gassy industry place, and not every place is like that. And it's kind of fun to just sort of like hang out in the bar, try to overhear some rumors about fancy loot.
So
this is the kind of shit
where
that
do
I enjoy
buy
in...
weapons. Oh, here we go. Equipment dealer.
It's kind of the thing I enjoy in any kind of video game where you have a ship, is like window shopping the nice ship that will solve all of your problems and make everything okay.
Yeah. This is actually worse than the one that we have.
One fun thing for world building, if you're building a science fiction thing, is it's fun to think about eras of spaceships in terms of like what the losers are. Where like if you look into the early days of any technology, there's a bunch of like mutants and deviations of, well, what if we tried this? What if we tried that? That they really stopped making because it turns out that nobody needs or wants that. It's not the best way to do things. There's all sorts of problems. And then that stuff is always cheap on the secondary market. So it's like if you've got a new spaceship, it's probably one of like 5 brands. But if you've got an old one, it's probably it could be like any number of little small productions you've never heard of that have all their own idiosyncrasies and quirks, and well, they've got a nutrition generator on the ship, but it only makes paste, and it all tastes like metal.
You know. Sorry, just eating something that has the texture of toothpaste and the flavor of like aluminum is perhaps the most unappealing thing I could imagine.
What if something has the texture of
aluminum
and the flavor of toothpaste?
Oh, that's just eating a mint, but forgetting to unwrap it.
Let's put turrets on our ship. How much money do we still... Okay, yeah, we can pay for that.
We can afford this. We're a level 1 pilot.
Really, put all those guns on our like our RV-sized spaceship?
No. We bought the freighter.
Oh, I see.
Like, it never gives you free roam of these places, but it lets you do this. You just sort of get the lay of the land. And there's like a vibe here, and I dig that.
This is another interesting thing to think about in terms of space. I actually think that this is one thing that Warhammer 40k gets pretty right. Or not, I guess right, obviously, is not the word here, but like it gets one thing that I actually think makes a lot of sense is the idea that like there's representational art that is literally something, and then over time you start to develop symbolic language that clarifies those into smaller and smaller symbols that are easily understood until that symbol can stand in for the thing itself. And art tends to reflect what symbols are commonly understood and what simplifications are processed. But like a galactic civilization, or like a multi-galaxy civilization, you're going to lose that sense of shared language where you're going to have to just go back to representative statues of big scary ladies hanging out on your spaceport, or else somebody from the other side of the universe isn't going to know what the fuck you're doing.
Look there for waypoint information and further instructions.
The downtime in these games is fascinating to me too. Like, Freelancer will occasionally interrupt you with like pirate attacks or whatever, but just the fact that the game's just sort of like, for the next 45 seconds we're chilling.
Yeah, I think more games need stuff like this, but I understand why it's gone away for the most part. It helps that you can like dick around in the menus and look stuff up.
Yep.
Go to.
I can't believe that Chris Roberts got to work with Matthew Lillard.
I mean,
wasn't he in the movie?
Yes, it's for those that don't know, there was a Wing Commander movie in 1999 directed by Chris Roberts.
Malcolm McDowell.
People like to
was
point
in
out the irony that the video game FMV cutscenes had all these like relatively well-regarded actors in them, and including for fucking Privateer 2, although they didn't know it at the time. And then the movie had like, you know, not the bottom tier, but like a lot of C-listers for sure.
That your primary target's not there. Keep fighting until we can pick it up again.
No way you're getting to our leader.
Fred Fargason? Oh my god. This game's names are amazing.
Fargason too.
I forgot that Freddie Prinze Jr. played the protagonist.
Wait, he's the protagonist in the fucking Wing Commander movie?
Yeah,
Oh,
jeez,
great.
it's like a Scooby-Doo reunion.
Stop running away, damn you.
I'm rooting for Fred.
Out of your league.
He's dead
Gene
now.
Cavallaro.
I just like bottom tier is not 100% accurate for 1999 here. Or even C-listers. You know, some of these actors and actresses seemed like they were in hits around this time. Just none of them particularly spoke to the aspirations of genre enthusiasts.
Scanning. Yep, it's all here. Thanks for your invaluable service. Mission Commission signing off.
Well, we heading to Planet Pittsburgh? What's...
No?
Okay, there. No, stop! What the fuck?
Trent really does not want to go to Pittsburgh.
I mean, I can't blame him.
What would you say playing this game feels like?
I mean, I can't say it feels great. Like, the level of arcadiness to it doesn't feel like there's a lot of actual, like, verbs when it comes to playing the game. I'm pretty much just pointing my ship at stuff and holding down the right mouse button, and then that stuff dies. And maybe at some point, like, the game gets more dynamic, but it certainly hasn't really opened up so far. And also, like, I can't say the missions that I've been doing have been particularly interesting either. It's a lot of just like, go here, kill this.
But I mean, I think that's part of what it was designed to do, because this is very much a sort of, oh god, I thought you were going to hit them, an accessible Chris Roberts game. Like, compared to both Star Citizen and Wing Commander, again, you're just basically aiming on things with the mouse. It's hold your mouse over the X is how you do combat.
Yeah.
That's all it is. But also that's all it is, which means it's, you know, anyone can pick up and play this space sim, unlike more hardcore or simulational ones.
Yeah, I wonder in 2003 if it was clear that, like, flight sticks are dying. Like, nobody's getting joysticks anymore. Like, was that a thing in 2003? Probably by that point, you'd think. Certainly, like, flight sims died pretty much immediately after this game came out, so...
Well, flight sims didn't die, but flight sticks mostly did.
Well, what other big-name flight sims came out after 2003?
You had Elite come out, the new one. New, I mean, it's like 10 years old, but...
Okay, so... in 2015, like...
You had a bunch of retro
12 years
style
later,
games.
Elite... Like... Yeah, but that's all, like new stuff. That's all stuff from, like, the past decade or so, where you had a revival of the thing, but, like...
Okay, yeah, there was about a 10-year period where there were basically none of these.
Yeah.
I think
These are literally
part of
all
that,
just the same mission with a different target.
part of that might have been that for PC gaming, these titles really relied on the ownership of a joystick, and that peripheral didn't really... People didn't, like, keep buying those very much.
Well, that's my point, is, like... And I guess this isn't something that I've ever super examined, but, like, did joysticks die because they stopped making flight sims, or did flight sims die because they stopped making joysticks?
I think it's just stopped being a very viable market. Like, it's not like obviously they never stopped making joysticks. They kept making them, and they never stopped making flight sims. At least, you know, games which you could control with the joystick kept getting made, right? But it wasn't like, relative to the size of the PC game market, I don't think it remained a large enough share that there was a lot of publisher interest. It's kind of like, you know, I feel like with the amount of people who are playing PC games in the 90s, a reasonable percentage of that player base would own a joystick because they were enthusiasts.
Yeah. I'm shocked.
So maybe just the market grew way bigger and the number of enthusiasts didn't increase.
And the emphasis on cross-platform games.
Yeah.
I am shocked by how many near misses we keep having. For the vastness of space, this is all really crammed together.
Oh yeah, it's like super. I mean, this is another problem that the space games have. Like I remember, kind of got it here, but Star Wars Galaxies came out with the space expansion, and there's just stuff everywhere, and there's nebulae everywhere. You never get like just blank star fields in that game, with the exception of one area. Like space must be full of stuff and colorful seems to have been the general design aesthetic of games of this particular era, which I feel like is less the case now.
Sure,
like,
I mean,
it's not really that way in Elite.
Until we can pick it up again.
Sorry, it's just these names.
Our leader.
Todd,
Todd
what is his name?
Farfan, Lynn Laware.
Todd Farfan. These names are amazing.
I wonder if these are. These have got to be like just drawing from like a name list.
But but the results are so off the wall.
Yeah.
It's like they have a really extensive list because they were really scared of duplicates. But then, as a result, the odds that you get anything that sounds like a real name are really low because it's just as likely it gets a super obscure name. Win Laware is a hard name to just say. Win Laware. Jeremy.
So
that's
this is not the same kind of mission as the last one, but it is occurring in exactly the same way. We got to the waypoint, What's-His-Face wasn't there, so we had to kill some of his henchmen, and then What's-His-Face showed up, and now we have to kill him.
I feel like if you open a Wikipedia article labeled Edison Trent, it would say Edison Trent is the alias of producer and performer Jeremy Epps.
Gotta destroy the waste. Come on. Am I not able to... Oh, X is the...
I think the last real entry in this series, not series, genre before it collapsed in on itself, may have been the sequel to Crimson Skies. High Road to Revenge. That was an Xbox era launch title.
You did it. Nice work. Mission commission out.
You know, I mean, flight sims and space sims, by extension, really were like a niche genre in an era where even the mainstream is fairly obscure nowadays. I don't think there's like a canonical flight game franchise from this era that the average gamer today would recognize. Like even X-Wing and TIE Fighter, which are like the most go-to possible examples you could name. Like even if someone's aware of the more recent title, I'm not sure it's a franchise that most people can really visualize accurately, thinking about it.
Well, I can't say I found this game particularly fun to play. I think it probably was more interesting when it came out because games hadn't done this, but like nowadays, like open world trading sim is something that like, so many games have done. So many flight sim type games have done. You've got Elite Dangerous if you want this kind of gameplay, like...
I mean, to be honest, thinking back on the critical coverage to this game, the number one complaint I remember was that it was repetitive.
Yeah.
So, there's a tendency to write off objections to this game as just, like, being jaded and overstimulated, but, I don't know that it was ever... I don't know that this game ever felt bigger than it really is, which is kind of the thing you're trying to do with this sort of galaxy-sized, or even, like, in the case of Sid Meier's Pirates, sea-sized experience.
Yeah. Is this a better game than Starfield, though? Yes.
I will say...
The only
everything
time
this
Starfield
game
beat this
does...
game...
I will say that Starfield is more game than this in a way that probably doesn't help it be a better game.
The only time Starfield was a better game than this was when all of the textures broke and the planets were just the swap has not occurred. You shouldn't be seeing this. Yeah, that was Freelancer. A game that you cannot buy.
Petition Microsoft.